So when you think about the mission trip, what are you most excited about?
I'm probably most excited to have new experiences and meet new people.
I'm most excited about getting to meet a bunch of new people and also experiencing what it's like to be in the minority.
I really want to have a new sense of community and learn how to make new friends and stuff like that.
Basically just want to have a broader perspective on different communities, and Canton is a very sheltered, kind of closed off community in many aspects, and I'm most looking forward to kind of having a different viewpoint and coming away with a better understanding of specifically an African American community.
The thing I'm most excited about is seeing other kids and seeing how they live differently from I am, but how ultimately we're all the same.
The idea for the mission trip was really simple. It was, how do we develop a cross-cultural mission trip here within the continental U.S.? And so thinking about different pastors I knew across America, Pastor Curry came to the top of my mind, and I gave him a call and said, here's the idea. 2013, I'm going to bring a bunch of kids from the suburbs, from Avon, Connecticut, out to live in Riverdale on the south side of Chicago for 1 week. Whatever you guys do that week, we're going to do it with you. The mission of the trip is we want to live in community and experience what the church does in an urban setting. The other side of this is, in 2014, we want to host you all for 1 week in Avon, Connecticut. And you guys will get to do whatever we do, and we get to ask the question, what does the church do in a suburban environment? And in that way, it's more than a trip where we're going to build a house or paint a building, but even though those trips are amazing. But the mission of this trip is, how do we develop these friendships? How do we build a community across our country? And so our kids who went to Riverdale this year will get to see their friends again next year when the Shekinah folk come to Connecticut. And we'll get to see one another again in 2015 at the National Youth Gathering in Detroit. So here we have 3 years of 2 youth groups who will get to see one another over and over and over again.
I think that it's going to be a very different community from ours, so I think I'm going to be very maybe uncomfortable the first times that I see the community, but I think it's going to be great.
I guess, I'm not too nervous about being with people that I don't know, because I feel like I can get along with most people well. So, I guess I'm a little nervous about you mentioned something about a dancing thing. I'm a little nervous about that. A little nervous just to see how different their culture is. I might be taken by surprise by some of it, I guess.
I'm most nervous about being in situations I haven't been before that might be awkward.
I'm nervous about being in the south side Chicago.
The thing that makes me most nervous is I've never been a minority, ever. Blonde hair, blue eyes, just everything. Just white, Christian. I've never been a minority, don't know what to expect. Don't know what it's going to feel like to stand out like that, because I'm not used to that at all. So I'm kind of nervous to see how I'm going to feel when I'm a minority.
Putting this whole process together, I continuously asked the question, what is the mission of the trip? Because unlike the traditional mission trip model where people from town A go to town B and do a project in return, this really wasn't that much of a programming trip, but it was a trip focused on how do we live together? What does it look like to have authentic Christian community? And just to be together in the Spirit of Christ.
Weird timing about how this project came together. I had just left a process where I was with leaders of the ELCA discerning the theme for the 2015 youth gathering, and we'd gone to Detroit. And I was a part of this delegation, and there were maybe, of a group of 20, there were maybe 4 or 5 of us that were African American. And the local pastors were present in our group. And one of the concerns that came up was we have problems getting congregations to come from the outskirts, the suburbs of Detroit, into Detroit. How are we going to get our brothers and sisters in the ELCA to commit to coming to Detroit for the National Youth Gathering in 2015? And I'm saying it in a way that you know, without a lot of emotion, but it was an emotional plea from the local pastors to say we should be doing something in preparation to this coming together. And so that's what I was thinking about when I left the meeting, which was, I think was October, November 2012 in Detroit. And not long after that, I get a call from my friend, Pastor Hilly, saying, you know, Pastor Curry, I'm thinking about bringing some youth to Chicago to stay with Shekinah Chapel, an immersion-like experience for them to see how church is done in Chicago. And maybe we could do an exchange where the next year then you bring your group to Avon, Connecticut. And so right away, with that information in my head that our church were looking for opportunities for groups to come together and kind of learn about each other, I felt like Chicago had a similar stigma as Detroit. And so I just jumped at the opportunity. I felt like it was right timing. I knew Pastor Hilly, and I knew that his heart was right, and I knew he had worked at his time at Lutheran School of Theology and some urban congregations. He had preached here at Shekinah, so I just felt like it was right.
The kids were a little more nervous, and I even talked to them about that on the way out there on the traveling. And when they got there, they were very surprised, and I was surprised the difference in what was perceived of Chicago. And the kids changed it too, because they just kept saying like, oh, this isn't what we thought, this isn't what we thought, and they were very surprised, and I was surprised on how surprised they were with the change in what they thought was going to be going on in the city and what was actually occurring.
Being a father, I guess I was apprehensive about her taking the trip, going so far, the distance that it was. You know, just the traveling in the vehicles, and then getting to Chicago. I guess being here in the East, I've never been to Chicago. I have this predetermined, I guess, feeling of the south end of Chicago.
I think the trip really helped her grow. She's more confident about traveling. I think that she's going to be a senior this year and thinking about colleges. And I think the fear of being in college is not really something that she is so nervous about anymore. I think she's going to think there's places to go and there's new people to meet, and it's okay, and she'll be fine and she'll find her place. So I think that it was a perfect time for a junior going into college. As a senior now, really looking for college, she's ready. I think she's ready.
I think that she realizes that people are the same wherever you go, no matter who they are. It's just a matter of location.
One of the things that I kept saying throughout the trip to the kids and to the parents before we left was that throughout this trip, you're going to be uncomfortable, but you'll never be unsafe. And that there's a huge difference between the two. Being uncomfortable is just doing something for the first time or being out of your element. Being uncomfortable gives us the ability to rise above ourselves or rise above who we think we are, to develop as people. And so I constantly said to the parents and the kids during the trip, I go, what we're going to do is going to make you uncomfortable, but you're safe.
Well, when I first heard about this mission trip, I thought it sounded like a fabulous opportunity for both girls, and I was all for it. Until I started Googling the area that they were going to be staying and reading the crime statistics, and of course I was very scared, ready to pull the plug, not let the girls go. Gave Pastor Hilly a call, and I have complete confidence in Pastor Hilly. He calmed me down. He assured me they were going to be safe. Maybe not comfortable, but they would be safe. So my husband and I discussed it. We decided we were going to take a leap of faith, let them go, pray everything was going to be okay. The girls got out there. We immediately got texts and phone calls. Mom, you totally overreacted, that you're so wrong, it's very nice here, everybody is so nice here, we're safe, everything is fine. So after that I felt much, much better after they felt safe. And then obviously whenever they came home and we saw the vans coming around, it was great to see them all in one piece. And then I felt really silly that I overreacted so much.
Day one, I knew we had something special. I wanted us to be able to come in and just observe what was going on in the community and look for moments where we could immerse with each other. So the first couple of days, I think we were very good at just giving the kids the space to observe, to breathe, to ask the tough questions, to just get an idea of the new environment they were in. And it just happened. It began to happen day 3, day 4. Children began to try things, began to sing some of the songs of Chicago and the children of Shekinah Chapel, began to walk the community, began to just have a sense of community. I think after 3 days, we all understood that we were going to be safe. We're going to be challenged, but the question of safety was no longer an issue. And when that's no longer an issue, we can do ministry. And day 3, it started happening. We started seeing more and more and more, leading up to, I just gotta say, the block club party. The children served. They worked the entire block by themselves, were getting children involved, were walking around with children and holding hands. And I had a glimpse of what the kingdom of God was like. I was really touched, really touched. We did it. We made it happen. It exceeded all of my goals and dreams. It really happened.
The thing that really stood out to me was how comfortable our kids were at the end of the week. At the block party, there was a pickup basketball game, and it was the kids from Shekinah, the kids from St. Matthew, and then other kids in the neighborhood. And no one stopped, no one questioned. Everyone just picked up, and there's this beautiful moment of watching these kids just be kids, play a game of basketball on the street, and everyone was comfortable and respectful and safe. And then 2 days after that, we were at worship at Shekinah, and the worship of Shekinah is very different than the way that we do worship at St. Matthew. And our youth were respectful, and they lived in that moment, and they just had a great time. And I don't think that that could have happened if it wasn't for the respect and the trust and the safety that was established between these kids this week. And so that was really, to me, what stood out, was the amount of trust that developed between these 25 kids over the course of just a few days. That was what we wanted, and thankfully that's what we saw.
I think it was really fun, and I liked when we were around Hyde Park showing them around, and I think it's going to be very interesting next year when they're going to be showing us around Connecticut. And I think it was really different for them, and it was funny seeing their reactions to stuff that we do and stuff that we have and how they thought it was going to be and the difference.
I heard that it was a lot more unsafe than it actually was when we were there, because I didn't feel at all uncomfortable in the city, and we were walking around fine. Sure, there are a couple stairs because you're a little bit different than people there, but after a couple days you really don't notice it, and it was just fun being in a different environment.
I did not think that we would bond so well together and like mesh so well together as two different groups. I thought it'd actually be a lot more awkward, but we actually bonded pretty quickly and got to know a lot about each other in the communities, and their worship was really cool. I kind of expected it, but it was really fun, and they're so outgoing, and they're just dancing and singing and yelling out loud in church, which was really interesting to see.
Favorite memory would be actually the first day that we all walked to the lake, because I feel like, you know, for that to be our first night, we got along pretty well. We spent a lot of time, and then the time that we was at the lake, we got to know each other as well. So it kind of like set the tone for the rest of the trip.
And I was kind of worried at first that would it be awkward. It's like forceful interaction. And then, I don't know, after we got the name games down and the bonding, it kind of just became comfortable, and we all became really good friends, and even after 5 or 7 days of being together, we didn't want to go.
Before they got here, I was thinking like, oh, this is going to be really like awkward because we're all like from different places, we're all different, so we're not going to really talk to each other. It's going to be like just always separated 24/7. But then when they got here, actually when the first day we all actually started talking and we all became more, it was different from what I thought it would have been. So
really enjoyed myself, even though I thought we was going to have a little confusion, but we all still end up staying together. No one argued or anything.
It made me feel more comfortable knowing that we kind of felt more like family than anything else.
I thought it was just going to be like, you know, all the African American kids stay with each other instead we all combined it together and everything.
Even spending a weekend with one of my friends, I'd be kind of tired with him or her, but I could have stayed for another week. We were having a great time and everything about it was fantastic.
I think what was really cool was the fact that we like just immersed ourselves in the community and both sides were willing to participate. I think when we first got there, none of the leaders or whatever told us to interact. They just kind of threw us in this parish house, and all of the kids like from both communities just sat down together and we played this hand slapping game, which it stood out to me because we really wanted to be there. We really wanted to like work together to like combine ourselves, and we had so much fun.
it's going to make me want to be more open to new things in Connecticut, because when they were here, they were open to try this, trying that. Like, they stood in like a line for probably almost an hour just for Garrett's popcorn. So like, that to me showed, okay, they're trying things out, they're not going to just quit on it. So
one of my favorite parts was the block party, because I don't know, we definitely stood out, but after a while it was really fun to get to know people there.
Well, definitely the first thing that comes to mind would be the scavenger hunt that we did downtown. That was a lot of fun, just seeing all the sights. Hanging out with the kids in the church overnight was a lot of fun. Like, just getting to meet everyone and getting to meet new people and like learning about their all their unique personalities.
I feel like it was like the vibe was just positive. You know, like we had just met everyone, so we didn't expect for us, you know, to like click that easy. So yeah, it was a positive tone.
So our mission trip was a church from Connecticut and a church from Illinois living together in Illinois. But the fingerprints on this ministry are so much more than just Shekinah and St. Matthew. We were housed for a week by the Lutheran School of Theology at Chicago. We were given a tour at the Lutheran Center in Chicago, and Bishop Mark Hansen took time out of his day to say hello. The New England Synod sent us financial support. Businesses and people in the community of Riverdale opened their lives and their home and their church to us for an entire week. We have a 5K run here at St. Matthew that we get local businesses in Connecticut to sponsor, and all that money goes to send our kids on mission trips. So I was having conversations with small business owners in Connecticut about sending kids from Avon to the south side of Chicago back in January and February and March, and they were really excited about the idea. So yes, it's a mission trip, and it's something that St. Matthew did with Shekinah, but the fingerprints on this, we have fingerprints from every expression of the church, from the seminary, from the national level, from the synodical level, from the local level, and then just from the wonderful people in all these congregations, the people at Shekinah who just opened up their lives and their hearts to us in such a big way. It just really makes you proud to be part of this great Lutheran church.
I hope that we can find like some more stuff that they do and how they do it differently, and yeah, I just want to know what's the difference.
I'm excited for them because they don't know even just the rural area we live in, and it's not anything compared to what they live in. Even though they live in the south side suburbs, it's still very much city-like, and they do go down to downtown a lot. But here there's widely spread neighborhoods and farms and lots of grass and trees, and I think they will think that it's very different, but I hope they like it.
It's gonna be like the game before, you know. They're gonna have to introduce us to their community because, you know, I'm pretty sure it's different. So I know when people come to Chicago, they probably think like, man, a lot of gangs and all this and that. So, you know, some people may be scared when they come to Chicago, but I mean, I really haven't heard anything like that about Connecticut, so it should be different and a nice experience.
The church could learn to do more trips like this, and then we will all be one as a person instead of like two different. We will all join together and be one.
And I think a great ending point was going to Washington Park to view the Buck Billiken Parade. 75 years, I think, is the number of, or maybe it's a bit shorter, but it's a long history of celebrating African American culture. And when our group, which was participating in the parade, got to the end, they quickly noticed the group from St. Matthew's over to the left, and this sense of excitement came, and they were just excited to see the group that they had been journeying with the previous six days, and St. Matthew's were rooting our group on, so it was just really, really nice, really special. So I wanted us to have a better understanding of each other, but I think some real bonds. I think some breakthroughs happened. I think our thing was launching from the nest while we were here. I think some of our birds have did a little launching and have stepped outside of their comfort zone.
So the National Youth Gathering is in 2015 in Detroit. And I hear that there are a lot of people really nervous about sending youth to downtown Detroit because of the stigma or the reputation of that city. But if I learned anything from taking the kids from St. Matthew to Riverdale, it's what your kids will learn from being in a different community for a number of days. What they'll learn from living there, from walking the streets, from making friends in the community, will absolutely change the way that they view not only places like the South Side of Chicago or places like Detroit, but it will really challenge them to rethink their own communities. You know, the kids who I took to Riverdale were not the same kids that I brought back. They were changed people because they had the opportunity to exist and live in a community where they were uncomfortable and yet safe. And that's a beautiful nest for kids to grow as they trust the pastoral staff, as they trust one another, as they develop relationships, and as they grow together. So that's the thing. I'm really excited about having the kids from Shekinah here next year. I'm very excited about running into the Shekinah kids. I had taken our folks to Detroit in 2015 because it's about growing. It's about being aware of the world, and it's about ministry and our life together.
There is no need to say another word. It will be golden and eternal, just like that. Something good will come of all things, yeah. Simple golden eternity, blessing all. Roads don't move, you're the one that moves. These roads don't move, you're the one that moves. Now get my ticket and say goodbye. San Francisco behind. it'll all be like it was in the beginning.